All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I went real long on my last video, so I'm going to try to cover a couple on this one. I want to talk about Bull. I want to talk about QBTS. I'm going to throw in FFAI as well as Workhorse, WKHS. And then I'll probably really quickly flash HIMS and ALLR on this opening thoughts again, because again, I think both of those are worth eyes. All right, but there's you know there's a lot to like with a chart like this, and specifically what I'm talking about is very little information, right? This thing has only been trading for a little bit more than 50 days, right? It takes 50 days for the red 50-day moving average to form, right? And we're nowhere near that 100th day, right? So very little information up here, but it's enough for us to have the full MACD, full RSI, lower indicators down here, and enough for us to actually have a 50-day line, right? So as little as this actually is everything we need. And what I like about this is this seems like the best setup in a good while. All right. I like this volume right here. I really was loving the last few days. There was an interesting dilution headline right there. They did an offering, and I'll talk about that shortly. But right now, it seems like there's more to like than not like. But again, that is for sure a doji. And you know me, if you watch my videos before, dojis are as 50-50 as they get. And it really is, I'm a line guy, right? All my videos are about these lines. It's the only candle shape that I know to bow down to and give the respect it needs, right? So you can't get too excited when you see the doji, but hey, that's at least an interesting doji and worth our attention, all right? QBTS, I mentioned this one in earlier in the Discord. It actually did catch my eye early. I saw it try to break the golden line there. Obviously couldn't, but hey, in a lot of ways, the line itself caught it as well as the 8 moving average, and then today did that much better and whatnot, right? So really like the candle right here, a good volume day, and you can see the issue has been volume. There's only a few days since June, right? I can count them with one hand. There was only 5 of them, right, since June that got over that white line. So I like the fact that with only 5 of them, the last 3 were basically close to back to back to back, right? So interesting to see that right there. And then what was the last one I wanted to do? Bull QBTS. Oh yeah, it's a combo of 2. We'll do FFAI. This is an interesting chart right here, right? I know it looked real scary. It was actually down to maybe minus 12 at one point, but I sent it to a couple friends on a text message. I said it earlier today. 750 was the number, right? Nope. What's this price here? 250. Sorry. Too many stocks, too many prices. 250. As long as it stays above 250, it's all good. And I was talking about FFAI. Honestly, it was more red than I expected today. It actually really was. I thought we would get some sort of good continuation. But yeah, just stay over 250 and it's all good. So far, that is actually exactly what happened. And look, the low of the day never even went to 2.5, right? It went to $2.57. So that's at least a little comforting, right? Again, still just a doji, right? We really need tomorrow to give us reason to think good stuff, and I'll give you that thought right there, right? But hey, so far there is a lot to like here, right? We're obviously over all the moving averages, we're over some of my lines, we have golden cross with the 50 and the 200, and really obviously that monster volume is a beautiful thing. But again, just crushing it with volume, and that's how good things start, right? This thing has actually broken all 5 and flown, and that's a beautiful thing right there. WKHS, workhorse. So this caught my eye, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of took a loss on this one because I bought somewhere up here when it was above the 8. Sadly, it does close down here. But look, workhorse is definitely worth eyes tomorrow. All right, so this thing has not lost the 8 and the 20 just yet. It gave us a flash of trying, but obviously couldn't do as well as I thought, right? But you get this thing over the 8 moving average, you're basically going to get yourself over 50% of this candle. That's where we'll start thinking maybe for an attempt at 280, if not even as high as 350, give or take, right? But workhorse, yeah, I like calling out when I'm wrong way more than I like calling out when I'm right. And yeah, workhorse bit me today, but I think it's still worth eyes, and then I will talk about what the scary lines will be. Hey, volume again, and you can see that's been the theme with just about everything I've been talking about today. The two tickers I at least want to flash, check out ALLR. This is a real nice candle, real good volume, good, and really first in a very since the existence of it time. There's been a bunch of reverse splits, so please don't think to yourself these prices. That's not the game that we're chasing, but there's some interesting things going on right here. Check this one out. And then what was the other one I wanted to flash? Hims with a good attempt at the golden line. I've said this. This one reminds me of Palantir. Like, this is a disruptor in a really big pharma industry. Palantir was a disruptor in a real big tech, government tech space. I don't know what to properly call it, right? But keep an eye on Hims, golden line cross, and especially knowing that the Dow Jones is starting to look really nice right there, right? So, cool. All right, nice. Before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There's none here. They're all up here, but I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But hey, just being here and giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So I feel like I gave some really good info on the opening thoughts for just about all of them. So I'm going to chapter these together and really just start giving the lines, all right? So look, as long as we are over... Perfect, because that I was basically going for 50% right there. What's the top of your candle? Is that too high? That's too high. Let's go with this line. I think as long as we're over, let's call it 1575. As long as we're over 1575, I very much would call this bullish. All we got to do, that, and I'm using that sarcastically because I'm gonna talk about this for a second. If we break 18, there is nothing. There is absolutely nothing stopping it from going to 27, to almost 28, all right? These gap fill borderlines, and that is what this is, right? You break this. I know it's not a true gap, but it basically is, right? There's at least this OG gap right there. Those are harder to break than you would expect. And I think in a lot of ways, that's why we got this Doji today. Like, this is a setup and a half. I know there was a dilution headline, but I feel like, and again, I'm saying this loosely because we really haven't gotten the confirmation just yet, but this candle would have been a nasty red one if the dilution was too much. And I never open the details, but one thing I've always said is I have no problem with offerings. There's absolutely nothing here that talks about float. I always say I move my personal money on something I call the 1 and the 2. It's not that different from this in all honesty, but absolutely nothing to do with float on any of those, all right? To me, share count doesn't matter. For a lot it does, and I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, right? But I'm cool with the offering if it's good terms and give them money without having to take a loan, without having to put monthly payments somewhere, right? You know what I mean? So get me over 1811 and it flies. Stay over this number and it's all good. Really, and I hope we don't have to talk about it, but yeah, that's kind of it's game over under 1450, I think is the easy thing to say right there, all right? So that's bull right there. With QBTS, listen, I say this all the time. There was a comment I saw. Why do I always say this? I'm going to give a little extra detail here. Look, all-time highs is the best place for your money, okay? Now, when I look at this chart, there's absolutely nothing up here. There's no educated lines for me to draw and say, oh, you know what? I think 2150 is going to stop it. I think 2213 is going to stop it. I think 2101. There's nothing. There are no resistances up here. Okay, that is what we love, and we use these other pieces of information to decide, hey, are we going to stay up there and keep going or not? Right. What I'm really liking about this is we tried to, and it seems like we finally have. What goes from over an immediate under, staying under, all of a sudden becomes over, never loses it. I'm going to zoom in. You can see there's a little bit of black right there, right? We literally are over it, never lose it, and then use this resistance as a support to bounce. Obviously, the 8 moving average was there. Obviously, the 8 moving average was really a good support and really does help with that bounce too. And you know, I always say it. These are just little simple human line clicks, right? Like I'm just some random dude, right? I'd much rather trust a computer generated line. But I see a 2.5 month, you call it 2 month resistance, all of a sudden turn to a support and bounce, gets us over the golden line, gets me thinking all-time highs. This is the biggest candle over the biggest candles to the left. All I can start thinking about is 20% after 20% after 20% after 20% until the stock decides to say that's enough. And the best part is, which I said in the beginning of the opening thoughts, since this monster run right here, right? So I'm going to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. We're now gone. Since that monster run, since the beginning of June, we've only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days over the 50-day line. And 3 of those 5 days were in the last 5 days, right? So the volume seems to be getting a little bit better. Makes me wonder if it's going to do one of these things again, right? So, and again, there's an easy way to bring volume. It's go over all your resistances and make me think it's good, right? Because, and I said this, it was the last thing I said on the Discord. I think it was about a different stock, but I do believe this. Give me a second. Oh, nice. That's important. Look at all those beats right there. Oh, hell yeah, UAVS. Hey, we've been talking about UAVS for a while in this room, actually. UAVS has been crushing it. Look, we're still on the 18th. Look at that, right? Like, since this headline right here about the drone stuff, we have been loving UAVS. Let me at least flash that real quick. Is it really, though? UAVS. Oof. I love it. Look at that close. I swear I didn't even see it close that strong. Oh, I love it. Hey, keep UAVS on your radar. I swear, I think I completely forgot what I was talking about because I got too excited about UAVS and I saw this alphabet beat, which made me think NASDAQ's going to do good. Damn. This is why these need to be live. I lost the chart. What was I looking at? What were we talking? Was it QBTS? I think it was. And then what were we talking about? Oh, that's so embarrassing. That's too funny. All right. You can tell I got too excited about UAVS. I sincerely apologize. I'm ending this part abruptly because for the life of me, I can't think about the last thing and why I even went into the Discord. I apologize. Let's wind this out. And I can't even remember what the third stock was. Oh, yeah, FFAI. Wow. Come on. Come on, chart reader guy. You're better than this. Okay. FFAI. A lot going on here. And the baseline really is you break all 5 and you fly, or you lose all 5 and you die, right? I love when you can see both sides of that sword on that single chart right there, right? You go under and man, you go under. What seems like is happening is we are trying to break this and go, all right? What really gets me excited is obviously this big volume day, right? It clearly does. But I think taking this single day out, let me zoom in just a little bit more. This is a good view. This is a good view because, yeah, let's even back it up. Let's even back it up. Let's even back it up. I'm looking down here as I'm saying this. I think this is a cool view. Since June 9th, I think, because I would say these ones are pretty much under the white line. Since June 9th, all the way to this late July that we're in right now. So I would say an easy month and a half. We have been at or over the 50-day line as we got up to and broke all 5. When volume is there and the technicals come, lovely things happen, right? I think the real cool thing is look at this. We went from 150 all the way to 3 plus without ever going wild on the RSI. If you're going to 2x, most of the time your RSI is down here at 30 and goes all the way up to 90, right? Look how healthy and just calm and smooth that RSI has been on a 2x run. Truth be told, I don't know if I've ever actually seen that before. I can't even think of very educated thoughts to say about that, but that's a lot of strength right there, right? And really to me, all it's saying is as long as the volume is there, that's all that almost matters to this thing. Because from there, MACD is just staying a very lovely green over red and almost like a moving average itself. It's just bouncing on the red line, going up, bouncing on the red line, going up. That's actually a little hilarious if you look at it. But there's way more to like than not like. And I know this part because at least I'm ready for this. So embarrassing moments ago. FFAI, because we did talk about this thing. 250 was my number. I said this in the opening thoughts, right? Just in case you fast forward it. Oh, you can't because I'm not chaptering this thing. But look, FFAI, and I said this earlier in the day, and at this time, we still went lower because 11, 12, at 2 o'clock, let's go to the chart right here, right? At 2 o'clock Eastern, come on, give me the time slots, right? We were on our way down and actually still go down for the next hour, right? So again, because I'm on the what is it called, the West Coast. As long as we stay above 250, it is all good. He talked about taking profits. You know me, I love to. I'm never here to talk about hold. I'm here to talk about banking profits, using those profits well on another stock, and then coming back to this one if it's needed, right? But yeah, as long as we stayed over 250, and we have stayed over 250, this is still a good day. Volume is still looking good. RSI has stayed and is remaining really healthy. And I am liking that MACD divergence, right? Divergence just means two lines going away. I see a little tick up. I don't see it being flat actually. So there is way more to like. I think the easy thing to call out is that's a 50-50 doji. So don't, underestimate what could happen there. But yeah, I think at this point we're going to retest 316, if not even probably go for that 340. And then if that 340 breaks, my goodness, the next real line is maybe 420, if not really that 533 that we got there, right? So don't lose 250. If we lose 250, you're going to come down to 230. I would easily say 230 is the bad line because then you're going to start talking about coming down to the 20, right? But there's a lot to like still here on that daily. There's a lot to like on this weekly. There really is. And look, next week needs to confirm. And maybe this is a little bit higher than RSI, but hey, excuse me, a little bit of a hiccup. First time over the 50 moving average since all the way in 2022. All right, so that was FFIE back in 2022, right? So this is an important setup. Even if it does a little bit of a healthy cool down, there's a little bit that starts to make you think, hey, maybe we're on the better side of the 50 than the worst side of it, right? So, yeah, cool. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.